Uh, Your Excellency, esteemed professors and speakers, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to convey you the most heartfelt greetings from Sister Alessandra Smerilli, the Interim Secretary of the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development. Sister Alessandra asked me to assure you all of her deepest sentiments of esteem and gratitude, especially for the opportunity to take part in such an extraordinary gathering, and at the same time to present our sincere apologies and regrets for not having the possibility to attend this event in person. We are currently at a turning point in history in which our sense of shared responsibility and belonging to the human family is being challenged. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the devastating effects of pre-COVID-19 trends, including the rise of global inequalities, poverty, and hunger, and the ongoing ecological biodiversity and climate crisis. It is merely the latest in a long line of warnings that our heart is crying out in pain for all its people and its creatures, and is yet another sign that our present ways of living are tearing at the social ecological fabric that supports us as a global community. For Europe, this is especially relevant and worrisome. Ever since the turn of the century, the people of Europe have witnessed an accelerating trend of integration. We saw nations coming together after World War II in the spirit of reconciliation, accepting their cultural differences and building a sense of fraternity and a foundation of common values. Years of dialogue, open and honest dialogue, built the continent we know today. The encounter between nations enabled the pursuit of the common good, as it allowed for the discovery of shared values, principles, and ideals on which the continent flourished. However, today we are seeing that the foundation of authentic dialogue and shared values become increasingly degraded. Subsequently, the unity of the continent is being challenged. In this latest encyclical, Pope Francis sees this deterioration arising out of two phenomena. The first is a wave of populism that distorts the true significance of what it means to be a people. Rather than respect its meaning as a living and dynamic people with a future and that welcomes difference and does not deny its proper identity, but is open to being mobilized, challenged, broadened, and enriched by others, populism degrades this notion into a tool of self-promotion. Today, we see our institutions overturned by the presence of an unhealthy populism, when individuals are able to exploit politically a people's culture under whatever ideological banner for their own personal advantage or continuing to grip on power. The use of the people as a notion is therefore aimed at discrediting others and short-term self-promotion rather than opening an invitation for continuing dialogue and participation. The second phenomenon which Pope Francis denounces is the individualistic paradigm that currently dominates our social systems. Rather than promoting a sense of freedom that is rooted in the common good and works in service of the people, our current economic development model has perpetuated an unconstrained sense of personal freedom that is inward-looking and tends to serve self-interest. The false belief in market mechanisms as spillover effects has inevitably led to the expansion of inequalities and new forms of violence threatening the fabric of society. In the words of Pope Benedict XVI, without internal forms of solidarity and mutual trust, the market cannot completely fulfill its proper economic function. And today, it is trust which has ceased to exist. These prevailing trends of recent times have infiltrated our institutions and fixated mechanisms that divide our people. The COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated all pre-existing crises, but above all, the legitimacy crisis of our union. In allowing inequality and climate change to spin out of control, affecting first and foremost the poor, we have betrayed the trust of our citizens and lost credibility in their eyes. Especially at this time when much has been demanded of them and they continue to see the rich grow richer at the expense of the people and the planet, we must ask ourselves, how can we regain their trust while dealing with the current crisis? Immediate financial instruments like a temporary university basic income might sound like radical solutions, but in times of need, they can provide some much needed assistance. In a world in which the equivalent of 253 million full-time jobs have been lost due to the pandemic, they can support people and keep them out of poverty. while giving them an escape route to avoid falling into underpaid or informal work. After the crisis, they can help reshape our relations within labor markets and empower the vulnerable. Moreover, in a world in which unpaid, unrecognized, and informal work, such as domestic work, care work, informal work, will suddenly intensify, immediate financial assistance instruments can give the people, primarily women, who perform such tasks, additional support to conduct their activities in a dignified manner. Finally, these instruments may contribute to the decent remuneration of workers that were previously underpaid and unrecognized, but who are actually essential for the functioning of social, supermarket clerks, sanitary workers, public service providers, etc., etc. The potential benefits of these instruments demand a further analysis. The future implication of their use, their sustainability, and the potential impacts they may have in specific contexts are not widely known yet. But given their potential to safeguard equity and alleviate the burden of the poor in times of crisis, their consideration is welcome. Nevertheless, the challenge we face today of restoring the trust of our citizens transcends immediate response to the current crisis. Today, as COVID-19 recovery plans are being rolled out, we have an opportunity to create something new, to reimagine our institutions and heal the structural roots of an interconnected crisis. This is Pope Francis' appeal to us, that we think of the world we would like to see emerge after this pandemic and act together in concrete ways to build it today. When he created the Vatican COVID-19 Commission, he told us that the future has a memory and that we must act to prepare the future with concrete sciences and imagination guided by the best principle of our faith. Today, we need to ensure that the most vulnerable, the poor on our planet, are represented in recovery policies so as to ensure an integral conversion that can best serve the integral development of our common family. We must put human dignity back at the center, and that pillar build the alternative social structures we need. To conclude, the challenge before us is to respond to the crisis with public policies capable of encouraging the integral development of people. This requires sustained efforts and dialogue and policies that are capable of reforming and coordinating institutions, are transparent and involve all stakeholders in processes of change, and above all, are farsighted and capable of a new integral and interdisciplinary approach to handling the different aspects of the crisis. The goal is clearly laid out by the Holy Father with these 3 T's: tierra, techo, trabajo. Land, livelihood, and labor. We must strive towards guaranteeing universal access to these 3 pillars of integral human development. As stated in Fratelli Tutti, the biggest issue is employment, since it promotes the good of the people, our talents, our initiative, and our innate resources. Helping the poor financially must always be a provisional solution in the face of pressing needs. The broader objective should always be allow them to a dignified life through work. Since production system may change, political system must keep working to structure society in such a way that everyone has a chance to contribute his or her own talents and efforts. Therefore, discussion at the highest level must be centered around immediate solution to the crisis will promote human flourishing in the future. What is required now is a renewed political commitment to act urgently to emerge from the crisis better than before, so that we might regain the trust of our citizens. In this way, the Catholic Church and their social teaching as an institution have much to contribute, as they recall the importance of ensuring everyone a seat at the table. In imagining a better world, we cannot do so without the virtues of caring for our common home and our universal solidarity and fraternity for our brothers and sisters. The new notion of neighborhood promoted by Jesus, so important for our Europe at this time, extends far beyond our immediate family, friends, and connationals, the people of other nations, and to those in the most remote areas of the world who are suffering the consequence of present lifestyles. In walking the path of love alongside others towards this common purpose, the Church can contribute to making this dream a reality. Thank you.